This presentation of ESPN College Football Prime Time is brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Here in the Mountain West Conference, the Wild West, a critical showdown as New Mexico and Wyoming get set to tangle, both teams in desperate need of a victory here tonight. Hey, great to have you with us as always. Alongside of Tom Ramsey, I am Roy Philpott. And Tom, two teams here entering the month of November in desperate need of a win, in search of their identity. They got to get it done here tonight.
Well, both Mountain West Conference teams a year ago went to bowl games. And Roy, of course, New Mexico had 9 wins. Wyoming had 8 wins. And I think this is a pivotal game for not only conference standings, but also if they further themselves to a bowl game later in the year, because it's really important both teams get on track early tonight. Josh Allen for Wyoming, one of the top quarterbacks in the country, has to be good from the start. He's going to be in a little more quick rhythm passing tonight. They've relied on him so heavily this year, and while we think, you and I think he has stepped up to the task, there's been some people on the outside that kind of say, maybe his draft stock is dropping a little bit, and maybe he's not putting up the numbers he should be putting up.
Well, the production has been, fairly pedestrian up to this point, but he lost all of his weapons from last year's squad, including his top receiver, tight end, center, and also running back Ryan Hill, who happened to lead Wyoming in rushing for his career. Great arm, all the intangibles. You like what he brings to the table. The production has been average at best. We'll see if it changes tonight.
Yeah, 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's got to be productive tonight for the Cowboys to really get on track offensively and spread the ball around.
Chilly conditions expected here in Laramie. Wind will be a factor as we go through. We'll start out at 49 degrees. Winds gusting to 30 miles an hour this evening at 7,220 feet. And temps expected to drop down into the mid-30s by the time it's all said and done. Bob Davie, year number 6. He's never lost to Wyoming with Craig Bowles, the head coach. And, of course, the former North Dakota State head man. Won 3 national championships with the Bison. Now leading the charge for the Cowboys. New Mexico won the coin toss. They deferred to the second half. And the opening kick sails through the back of the end zone. And away we go. So the Cowboys take over 1st and 10 from their own 25, and our first look of Josh Allen. And Tom, I'm just curious to see what kind of game he has here tonight. Scouts are on hand once again. Could be throwing into a stiff breeze at times. And it sounds like, based off our conversations with the Wyoming coaching staff this week, they want to throw it more if they can.
Well, and if they can is the proverbial question, because New Mexico is going to load the box and come after him.
Looking for the quick strike instead. Goes deep to James Price, who corrals it. And there goes number 80. On the first play from scrimmage, 75 yards for the touchdown. Flag on the field back at the 29-yard line. We'll check the penalty.
And the players are walking back as though it's going to be a down that comes back. They're going to take the 6 points off the board.
Ineligible player downfield, number 61 offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, they're going to tag Caden Jackson, the guard, as being an ineligible man downfield. And boy, oh boy, that one hurts. Wyoming has been looking for fireworks on offense, and Josh Allen delivers on the first play of the game. Keep an eye on 61. He'll go down the field. Sure enough, he's past the line of scrimmage, and that will nullify the touchdown to James Price.
And for an offense that's been trying to find its rhythm and identity all season long, that is beyond costly. Conway in motion, I formation on first down after the penalty. And the pass sails incomplete, trying to spot Akwali in the flats. Burrell in coverage.
Well, and the magnitude of that penalty is really, Wyoming's offense has been looking for their identity this year. And Josh Allen, you mentioned it at the top of the show, Roy, he's lacking a lot of weapons. I think primarily missing Brian Hill, the career rushing leader. He went on to the NFL, and not having that run game has really impacted Josh Allen and the Wyoming offense.
On 2nd down and 15, they'll fake the inside handoff. Here's C.J. Johnson, who's corralled at the 25. Stanley Barnwell led the charge. That's a gain of 5.
And oh, by the way, I love James Price, by the way, number 80. He was out at the beginning of the year. He had a shoulder injury, and he only has 6 catches. 6 catches the entire season. That was going to be his 7th. Take a look at the Wyoming offense. They're down in, if you're in the 120s for anything, not so good. Total yards per game, 127. The seller is 128. So they're knocking on the door.
And 99th on 3rd down this season for Josh Allen. He needs 9 yards here. And this is where he gets dangerous. Allen on the move. Flag on the field. Back at the 18-yard line as he dives close to first down yardage. And we'll check the penalty. Allen, of course, the well-documented traveled signal caller.
Number 74, offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still 3rd down.
Brinkley Jolly making his first start of the season, replacing Ryan Cummings, the starting right tackle, and held Rayshawn Boyce on that sequence. 2 penalties. They'll lose 15 on those 2 infractions on this possession.
Well, that only pushes them back into a much longer yardage 3rd down conversion attempt. And, you know, again, you saw just a moment ago Josh Allen running for his life on 3rd down. And this is just a situation they want to avoid tonight.
Nico Evans checks in, and the inside give goes nowhere. Evans stacked up, driven backwards behind the line of scrimmage. Garrett Hughes got there first, and Tom, he's going to lose 3.
Well, it's almost, it's really worse than a 3-and-out, Roy. And they had 3 3-and-outs a week ago against Boise State's defense. You know, when you have a touchdown taken off the board and then you have a hold that pushes you even further back, it just puts your offense and really puts your defense at risk with New Mexico getting the ball near midfield.
Tim Zaleski will kick it out of there, turns it over beautifully. As Chris Davis Jr. will watch it bounce far side. And the senior will watch it be down to the 25. That's a punt of 51 yards. So after the first play from scrimmage goes for a touchdown, New Mexico takes over. And here's a bit of a surprise as the backup quarterback will get the start tonight. Tuioti will take the place of Lamar Jordan in the starting lineup, and Tavaka Tuioti is probably the better passing quarterback between the two, Tom. And you talked with Bob Davie about it on the field prior to kick. We'll see if this opens things up for the Lobos. An inside handoff. Tyrone Owens is brought down at the line. Logan Wilson brought him down.
Well, the Wyoming defense didn't have an answer a year ago. New Mexico came up with 690 yards and 56 points against this Wyoming defense. A lot of the same players there for the Wyoming defense. They're going to tackle it a little bit differently this year with Scotty Hazelton, the defensive coordinator. They're going to really try and load the box, Roy, and stop them on those inside runs.
Well, it wasn't just the 690 yards. It was 568 on the ground as Q Drennan has it on the tunnel screen, ushered out of bounds for a short pickup. The 568 yards rushing by New Mexico last year in Albuquerque, the highest rushing total for any FBS team all season long. And so the Wyoming defense has its work cut out for it.
And you know what's remarkable about not only the rush yards, but the total yards? They did it on 51 plays.
How does that happen?
It's a total head scratcher to me. That's 13 and a half yards per play. 3rd down for New Mexico.
Out of the shotgun, Tuioti facing his first 3rd down. Here comes pressure. Wrapped up, but he gets rid of it. And Owens will be well short of moving the chains. So 3 and out for the Lobos. Carl Granderson applying the pressure. And old number 91 for the Cowboys has had himself quite a season.
Well, and especially the last few weeks in the win against Utah State. He was named Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year last week against Boise State. He harassed Brett Rippon and Montel Cozart, and right there coming after Tuioti on third down and really forces him to throw the ball before he was ready.
One of the secret weapons for the Lobos. Bojorquez, the punter, tops in the Mountain West. Conway awaits it. And a couple of dance moves go nowhere. So the hidden yardage and special teams have favored New Mexico all season long. That's a punt of 44 yards there. Just underway here in Laramie, still scoreless. A long touchdown call back and a couple of punts. Wyoming about ready to take over with its second possession. Updated look at the Mountain West Conference standings. A big upset earlier today. CSU goes down to Air Force, and so Boise State now in control of its postseason destiny in the Mountain Division. And of course that makes this game that much more important as the Cowboys can get back in the race with a win here tonight at home.
It is an interesting scenario in that Mountain Division. As Coach Craig Bowl said, it's the I-25 corridor. All teams know each other very well and are capable of beating one another.
Conway in motion, inside give. That's Woods, the converted linebacker. And a tough 2 yards brought down after the short pickup.
And they just have to keep giving the ball to Woods, hoping that he can generate some yards rushing the football.
I think you and I would agree the loss of Brian Hill from last year's team, the school's all-time leading rusher, has proven to be the most difficult setback to overcome. Entered the NFL draft early, late round pickup. But that same kind of power running in the backfield has been absent. And Craig Bowl told us this week he has challenged that running back room to try to figure out a way to get these guys going. And on 2 straight carries, couple of short yards picked up. Alex Hart with a tackle.
Well, and we did Brian Hill over the last couple years, Roy. He was responsible for over 4,300 yards. I mean, 4,287 and 35 touchdowns. The thing about Brian Hill, he never came off the field, and then you miss Tanner Gentry, their number one wideout, Jacob Hollister, a great tight end who's now with the champion New England Patriots. And, you just miss those key components. But I agree with you 100%. It's the loss of Brian Hill.
Free play for Josh Allen on what should be an offsides. Conway has it far side and lassoed out of bounds across the 40 by Lilly. It's a gain of 21 yards.
Well, and that's the mark of a really good quarterback. He uses cadence to draw the team off sides. They're off sides.
Result of the play. First down, Wyoming.
He knows he has a free play and takes advantage of the free play down the sideline with a back shoulder throw. And right there, calm, has his feet gathered underneath him. Nice throw outside. Conway hauls it in, and they got a first down.
Woods checks back in. Allen off his back foot, looking for Price, incomplete. D'Angelo Ross in coverage. Allen was banged up a good bit last week in the road loss at Boise State. Carried the football 18 times. Brent Vegan, the offensive play caller, told us this week, Tom, that really about 8 of those were design runs, and they need to try to keep him upright a little bit more this evening, obviously.
Yeah, and Allen 2 of 4 tonight for 27 yards. They don't want him to run the ball that much. But he is a really good runner. He's a dynamic player with the ball in his hand, so they don't mind if he's getting first downs.
Conway in motion once again. Allen sensing the backside pressure, floats it deep. And nobody home as Price is blanketed by Ross.
And that's just a missed throw right there, Roy. He has James Price running down the middle of the field. If he leads him on the same track that he's running, Price has a chance to catch the ball. And Josh Allen, the last couple weeks under pressure, his feet just haven't been right and haven't been with him. He did take a lot of shots. Now, if you throw that ball between the hash marks, that ball landed outside the hash. If you throw it between the hash marks, that could be a touchdown.
Allen needs 10. Fires a missile, incomplete. Conway should have brought it in. Coverage by Ross again. And that really has plagued the wide receivers for Wyoming this year. Butterfingers. We've seen C.J. Johnson experience the drops. We saw it there with Conway.
Well, and the receivers for Wyoming, just on any 50-50 ball, they lose. They just haven't contested the catch. And you see it over and over on film. They just haven't made the plays they need to be making.
So after the initial first down of the night, Wyoming punts it. And Chris Davis calls for the fair catch at the 21. A punt of 38. Lobos football when we return.
ESPN College Football is presented by Dr. Pepper, the one fans crave, and in part by Aleve PM. Aleve PM for a better AM.
And we take you back in time. Some 365 days ago in Albuquerque. A couple of long runs by Terrion Gibson and Lamar Jordan setting up the Lobos for more than 550 yards on the ground. Rock McCorley also threw a couple of punches, a couple of haymakers of the Cowboys defense in a big New Mexico win. 56-35 was the final score. Boy, the numbers were downright insane, Tom Ramsey. 568 on the ground, 690 overall in total offense for Bob Davies' club. And that really set the tone for the season for both teams to a certain extent. Quick pitch and catch. Delane Hart-Johnson with a grab. And that's a gain of 19 yards on first down.
Well, and Bob DeBest, the offensive coordinator, he kind of chuckled when I said, hey, Bob, that's hard to do against air in practice, against no defense. And he got a chuckle out of it because 690 yards is just huge. The 568, as you mentioned, an NCAA record a year ago, rushing the ball, and all on 51 plays. Remarkable.
Tavaka Atudi is the quarterback making the start. And the near side toss. Go for another quality pickup on first down as Jake Griffin makes the grab and ushered out by Tyler Hall.
Well, what Bob DeBest told me before the game, when they decided to start Tavaka Tuioti, they've really struggled on third down this year. They're last in the entire country in third down conversions at 25.9%. And Tuioti gives them a little better chance on third down. He gives them a little better chance to throw the ball down the field, even on first down situations. So you get a little more, but we'll see Lamar Jordan tonight for sure.
Inside give. Goes for a short pickup. McQuarley on second down will pick up a yard. Well, New Mexico's thrown the football a lot more this season. I mean, it's a triple option attack or presentation with inside zone principles. But this year, they've already tossed it 148 times, whereas all of last season, only 179 passes attempted. So they're trying to do some different things to keep opposing defenses off balance. They need 6 yards here to sustain this possession. Tuioti out of the shotgun, play action, and batted down. So after picking up the initial first down, Kevin Prosser swats away the pass on third down. First incompletion of the night for the Lobos.
Well, we knew the defensive ends were going to be factors tonight. Prosser gets way up the ladder that time, coming off the edge and knocking the ball down, and was Wyoming that time really selling out at the line of scrimmage. I really like what Scotty Hazelton is doing thus far. The eyes are really good for the Cowpokes.
Bajorquez, an ordained minister, will float a punt inside the 10. And New Mexico bounce. We'll see it spotted all the way down towards the 3-yard line. Cowboys with poor field position when we return here in Laramie.
The College Football Playoff Top 25 Ranking Show. Tuesday at 7 on ESPN. Presented by Allstate.
Back in Laramie, scoreless ball game. Cowboys and the Lobos with Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott. Playoff rankings set to be revealed for the first time. Halloween night, which also happens to be Nick Saban's birthday. Who knew?
How about that? Scary all the way around.
No doubt about it. No trickeration here yet this evening. We're starting field position for the Cowboys. Play action for Allen. And rifles a pass ahead to the 15-yard line. That's a gain of 12. The second time we've seen Price targeted this evening. Tom, you mentioned earlier, had the broken collarbone to start this year, missed the first 3 games trying to find that rhythm. Number 17 in brown and gold.
Yeah, and I think this game gives him an opportunity, Roy, to shine, because you're going to get a ton of man coverage and man free. And New Mexico sells out to stop the run. And with that, you know you're going to get some passing lanes wide open.
Allen with a crease straight ahead. On first down, will pick up 11. Jacob Gergel brought him down.
And Gergel has played really well from that strong safety position. He's done a good job of filling. And, you know, Josh Allen is he's a big kid. You know, 6'5", 240. And when he's lumbering up the middle of the field, I mean, you better get low.
Allen, of course, the well-documented story. Did not have a Division I scholarship offer out of high school. Went the junior college route. Sent out tapes to colleges across the country. Some confusion in the backfield here will warrant a timeout. And really it came down to the Cowboys in Eastern Michigan, where he was going to play at the next level. Unfortunately for Wyoming, it was here. He could be a top 10 pick.
Very easily a top 10 pick. I mean, you're going to look at, I think Bob Davie, the head coach at New Mexico, paid him the highest compliment. He said he's one of the best players in America, and a player's not only judged on 1 year of film. You go back and look at his junior year as well, or last year for that matter, his sophomore year, his redshirt sophomore year, and he put up tremendous numbers. He made every throw imaginable on the field, and I think this year, you know, again, we almost have overanalyzed it, but it's been that the run game has not been what it needs to be. Not at 123rd in the country, Roy, under 100 yards rushing per game. That's been the difficult piece of the Wyoming offense.
Still has time to close his final campaign, we assume, in Laramie in fairly good order, and we'll see if that can happen. So out of the timeout, 1st and 10. Here on homecoming in Laramie.
Yeah, and clear skies, just a little breeze coming off the plains makes it a little colder.
Van Manen checks in at fullback, I formation for Trey Woods. Cowboys will look to throw it down the field. And that pass sails out of bounds, looking for Johnson. Burrell in coverage, 2nd and 10 upcoming.
I'd like to see Wyoming take a couple shots deep tonight on first down. Not just third down, but also first down. And when you think about their explosive plays this year, Roy, they've only had one play of 30 yards or more, and that was the pass last week, Josh Allen to his fullback, Drew Van Manen, against Boise State.
Cowboys do like that wheel route. Wyoming had a fourth quarter lead at Boise, but could not hold on to it. Allen with a pocket and indecisive with that toss, looking for Price. And Tom, it looked like he tried to pull it in at the last second.
Yeah, he wanted to pull it down, and it just flew out of his hand, and he's lucky that it flew out in a forward fashion. You know, sometimes you think you have the picture in your eyes, and the picture changes sometimes out on the edge, and he didn't want to throw a ball that had the potential to go the other way. I thought it was a good job of him pulling it down, at least ball falling incomplete, give him a 3rd and 10.
Pokes 1 of 3 on 3rd down. Allen will roll the pocket. And that pass harmlessly out of bounds. Late contact as Allen bit the dust, but no flag.
Now Stanley Barnwell, the free safety, really coming hard that time on top of Josh Allen. And I like that they rolled the pocket outside, rolling to his left. Again, the pressure. See Barnwell coming in. Barnwell replaces Bijan Parker, who is out due to a broken arm last week in their game against Colorado State, and Parker was playing really well, I thought. But Barnwell steps in. He has a lot of experience.
Zaleski did a nice job to corral that low snap and a 45-yard punt. Give the Lobos the possession at the 29. Now, so back and forth we go, and I think you and I both were expecting perhaps some more points tonight between these two offensive units trying to find their rhythm, and has not happened just yet. We'll see if the Lobos can catch fire here. Tuioti making the start tonight, the redshirt freshman from California. Probably the better thrower between himself and Lamar Jordan, but Jordan checks in for the first time, and he'll run the option. Near side, and lucky to get back close to the line of scrimmage was Darrell Chestnut. Andrew Wingard made sure he didn't pick up any yardage.
Well, and Wingard, one of the top tacklers in the country, averaging 10 tackles a game, and last week, 15 tackles. 15 tackles against Boise State.
Lamar Jordan, the redshirt senior, numbers against Wyoming have been ultra impressive in his career out of Frisco, Texas. And he's done a great job trying to be a mentor to the younger Lobos on offense this season. He'll fling it down the field. First down on a nice pitch and catch. Davis has it, brought down by Priester after a gain of 13.
Nice catch by Chris Davis, and probably an even better throw by Lamar Jordan, getting the ball out. And, you know, he has such great experience against Wyoming. And here's a guy, Lamar Jordan, he's been a 3-year captain. So it's been a little difficult, right, to see a young player like Tuioti come in, start the game tonight. Although Bob DeBest told me before the game, he said, listen, Lamar knows he's going to play early and often.
Inside give to Tyrone Owens, coming off his first 100-yard game of the season a week ago, brought down by Garrett Krall after a gain of 2. Now the numbers for Lamar Jordan against the Pokes have been, well, we used the expression ultra impressive a few minutes ago. It's thrown for 370. You see the completion percentage, but on the ground, it's been unstoppable.
Astounding. How about that? Those numbers are astounding when you think about the success he has had against Wyoming. And I credit Bob Davie here for taking Tuioti out, letting him see some plays from the sideline, and he'll be back in the game. It always gives quarterbacks a little refresher course to come off and take a different look. Don't have all the pressure resting on your shoulders.
Corley picks up 2. It'll make it 3rd down. Lobos need 6. The crowd here on homecoming to its feet.
Well, in Wyoming defense, they've been really tough. And turnover margin, they're great. They're +9 in takeaways and turnover margin.
The Lobos, one of the worst teams in the country on 3rd down. 0 for 2 tonight. Just 25% for the season. We'll try to set up the screen, and it's picked off. It's picked off. Carl Granderson's got it. The spin move at the 20, and there he goes. And big number 91 rumbles down to the 2. Second interception of the season for the player that leads the Mountain West Conference in tackles for loss, and that's a 36-yard return to boot.
Well, Carl Granderson has been playing at an exceptionally high level. Right there, that's their 18th turnover gained. They're now +10 on the year, and boy, that's his second interception. As you just mentioned a moment ago, watch how he gets length. He gets up in the air. I think he caught it one-handed. He just stuck it in his right hand, and then, boy, Granderson, he made an awfully tough case. I mean, you might put him at tailback. There's a guy right there, Coach Bohl, that can run with the ball once he has it in his hands.
Trey Woods checks in at running back. I agree with you 1,000%. You're reading my mind. Woods inside give, punishing run towards the goal line. And he'll be marked just short. Woods, a converted linebacker, made the transition to offense shortly before the start of the season. Really the 5th game that he's been the featured back as the Cowboys go tempo. Allen straight ahead. Did he get there? He did for the touchdown. A late signal, but it counts. And the Pokes on the board.
And Roy, that's what they've been missing, right? The tough run inside by the running back, Trey Woods. He gets it inside the 1-yard line, and then they just do quick count. Josh Allen in from the 1-yard line, and that's tough running. by both players there. Josh Allen keeping his pads low, just following his big freshman center, Logan Harris, into the end zone.
Cooper Roth's extra point is true. And our new score with 2:37 remaining in a fast-moving first quarter. Cowboys on the board first, 7-0.
Well, and credit that huge play by the defense. Carl Granderson coming up with the interception, and then the great return, taking it down inside the 10-yard line. Granderson just went up and stabbed the ball, and he did a great job running with the football. Nice spin move, and then Josh Allen over from the 1-yard line for the score for the Pokes.
And Tom, you get the feeling the team that scored first tonight, in desperate need of some kind of offensive momentum this evening, perhaps, it's going to really be an enormous advantage for whichever team that proved to be. It'll be the Cowboys. They had the early touchdown call back. We'll see if that's going to be a spark. We'll step aside, 7-0 Cowboys. Cowboys strike first back in Laramie. Here inside of War Memorial Stadium with Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott. Chilly conditions tonight. Wind could play a factor. It has not just yet. Lilly from 5 yards deep ahead to the 14. And a late flag on the field. Well, a busy start for our veteran officiating crew, led by Michael Vandervelde.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 11, receiving team. That penalty will be enforced half the distance to the goal. First down, New Mexico.
Well, that'll set New Mexico back a little bit. Bob Davie not real happy. And Bob Davie, what a great story. What a great guy. 10 years in the broadcast booth after with ESPN and ABC, and just a really gracious man with his time, speaking to us this week, and he's been a great coach on the field. I thought it was interesting, Roy, what he said, though, when he said, yeah, when I was doing the broadcasting, Tom and Roy, I was going to coach again. I was like, you did.
Well, he's a man that's very comfortable in his own shoes. Tuioti, the new quarterback for New Mexico, and the handoff to Ramel Jordan. We'll pick up 2. Logan Wilson with the stop. Now make sure you kick off your Week 8 NFL Sunday with a countdown crew. It's 10 a.m. Eastern. Another enormous weekend in the NFL. Early breaking stories, injury updates, game previews featuring Samantha Ponder and company. Streaming live on the ESPN app. A lot of big matchups this week as we get close to the halfway point. Worst field position of the night for the Lobos on 2nd and 7. They'll bunch 3 backs in the backfield. Tuioti near side and brought down by Logan Wilson, and lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, and so far the defensive strategy is to have either Logan Wilson right in the middle of your screen or Andrew Winger be the tacklers. So the defensive ends are coming upfield, trying to force the runners back inside, and then Logan Wilson, who's just so dynamic from that middle linebacker position, coming in, keeping his eyes right, making the tackle.
Lamar Jordan back in at quarterback. Logan Wilson, the 2016 Mountain West Conference Freshman of the Year. Lobos 0 for 3 on 3rd down. And they should break that streak right here. That's good enough to move the chains. New Mexico needed 7. They'll pick up 8.
Yeah, Patrick Reed knowing right where the sticks are and making the catch just in front of the first down marker. And you're right, the first one of the night for New Mexico.
I like to be right. What do you think of the quarterback exchange thus far? It's been interesting. We've seen this a lot in this league where teams come in preparing to play 2 signal callers, and they've reached, varying amounts of success along the way. New Mexico trying to do that again here tonight. Handoff across the 20. Gain of 5 by McQuarrie. on first down.
Well, Roy, in the college game, they just make it look easy when they transition from one player to the next. And, I live in Denver, so I have the Broncos I have kind of forced to watch on occasion. I wish they would operate a little more fluid at exchanging or at least transitioning to their backup quarterback and Brock Osweiler. But, if they want to stick with one guy the whole way, then sometimes you pay the price.
Now the Cowboys strike first in this Mountain Division clash. These two teams in Boise State won a share of the title a year ago. Cowboys still in the mix as of tonight. 7-0 our score. Big play by Carl Granderson. Josh Allen with the honors. And a one-possession game. Back in Laramie, 7-0 our score. Cowboys out in front of New Mexico. Craig Bohl trying to beat the Lobos for the first time. This presentation, ESPN College Football Primetime, is presented by Dr. Pepper. Beautiful night here in Laramie. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott, Lobos, 2nd down and 5. Jordan will run the option. And Ramel Jordan from the quarterback Lamar Jordan will lose 2.
Carl Granderson again from that defensive end position does a great job holding the edge. And he's such a big-bodied guy, 6'5", 260, out of Grant High School in Sacramento, a real accomplished program. And boy, he's one tough Cowboy at the line of scrimmage.
Now the pressure was going to be on the defensive ends coming into this football game tonight against this triple option attack. Lobos quarterbacks equal so far. Tuioti checks back in out of the shotgun. And now Flush flings it far side and it's picked off. The dangerous toss intercepted Marcus Epps. First interception of the season for number 6 in brown and gold.
Well, and who makes the play for Marcus Epps? It's none other than the flip side of Carl Granderson. Number 42, Kevin Prosser, comes off the edge. And Prosser, great spin move, and he's up in Tuioti's face. And he just makes the freshman quarterback make an errant throw. But credit that one to Kevin Prosser.
Epps said this week, we want to prove that we can stop these guys. They gave up 690 yards in total offense last year in the loss in Albuquerque. And Marcus Epps came into this football game with a chip on his shoulder. Here's Allen rolling the pocket. Pass is caught. And James Price, after having a touchdown call back on the first play from scrimmage, will pick up 12 yards here.
Well, I like that by Wyoming, moving the pocket, getting Josh Allen outside, just on the perimeter a little bit. Nice throw and catch to James Price. What they make might be a personal foul.
Personal foul, hands to the face, number 95, defense. That penalty will be enforced half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Garrett Hughes, the guilty party, and Bob Davie can't believe it. Now, I'll tell you this, Tom, there is some bad blood between these two teams because last year there was a 3-way tie in the Mountain Division for the championship between these two squads and Boise State. And Bob Davie, after the regular season ended, got rings for the Lobos, even though they did not play in the Mountain West Conference Championship game. Lobos take to Twitter, started posting pictures of the ring, and Marcus Epps and others were watching that on social media, and they're like, what are you doing? You didn't win the title, so they have something to prove here tonight. After giving up the 56 points a year ago, as Trey Woods off right tackle picks up a gain of 2. Garrett Hughes the stop, but that kind of stuff lingers.
I would say yes, that would irk a few people.
So the Lobos didn't win the championship, but it was a 3-way tie, and so they get the rings. Bob Davie wants to celebrate, and people take issue with that kind of thing.
Yeah, and they can. Last time I checked, you and I might get you a ring of sorts. But it's the only team in the Mountain Division Craig Bohl has not beaten, so it is. It's in his craw, too.
Allen trying to spot Johnson. And blanketed that time by Gurgle. We'll make it 3rd down.
Well, in Wyoming, the only team in the country to be perfect in the red zone. They come into the game 14 of 14 in red zone, and it's remarkable. Brent Vegan, really, the offensive coordinator, not overly happy because half of those are field goals, but still, anytime you're batting 100%, it's pretty good.
Evans checks in on third down at running back. 5-man front for New Mexico. Allen, backside pressure, fade pattern towards the corner, and 2 flags come in late. Conway was trying to run the post corner. Barnwell wouldn't let him.
I knew there was a reason why the ball was off target, and they were just holding Austin Conway that time. They had 25 pretty well locked up. Josh Allen gets pretty good protection until he throws it. Then he gets crushed. Just trying to get the ball outside. A little smash route, a little corner.
Yeah, Conway had grabbed some jersey there too.
Number 9, defense. That penalty will be enforced half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
And a costly penalty on third down.
Yep, Stanley Barnwell that time, the free safety, playing against the inside receiver. And, a lot of hand jostling, I'll say, but Barnwell has a real good hook on him, and the back judge saw it, flag came out.
First down and goal from just inside the 5. Van Manen on the field, the fullback, and they'll show the power eye. Evans tripped up, crossing the 4.
Well, they brought Nico Evans in there to run power, and he came into the game averaging 2 yards a carry, and I'm not even sure he got 2 yards.
That's been the issue for the Cowboys offense all season. Officially back to the line of scrimmage. Woods, the new running back. Fort in motion. Play action. Fort breaking open. Can Allen spot him? He cannot. Well, he tried to sneak the tight end through Van Manen, the intended target. And he had Fort for a moment, the converted quarterback, now a tight end for the Pokes.
Yeah, and I thought they just kind of ran out of room there. Plus, New Mexico had a pretty good defensive answer. He tried to sneak the ball into his fullback there, Drew Van Manen, right. Almost had him, but probably just missing number 36, the fullback.
I play a microcosm of Wyoming season on offense, where they've been oh so close and a little bit out of sync. Third and goal. The jump toss. Fort's got it. Austin Fort has caught 2 passes this season. Both have gone for touchdowns.
Well, I love the wrinkle. Josh Allen takes a snap from center, and it looks like quarterback inside zone. So he's going to rush the ball. He lowers his shoulder pads, and then he jumps up. And Austin Fort making his 2nd catch of the season, along with 2 touchdowns now.
Now the converted quarterback left the team after signing with the Cowboys because he knew he wasn't going to get any snaps. Late flag on the field. Went the junior college route and then decided to walk back on here at Wyoming. Craig Bowles said, "You got to earn your scholarship, son." And that's exactly what he's done now as a tight end. And he's also overcame a PCL tear this season. Just his 3rd game back, he's got 2 touchdown grabs.
The extra point is good. After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 36 of the kicking team. That penalty will be enforced on the succeeding kickoff. Media timeout.
So Van Manen, the fullback, Drew Van Manen, gets tagged on the extra point with a personal foul. They'll assess that on the kickoff. And Wyoming with another score, going up 14-0 over the Lobos.
Austin Fort's 2nd career reception, 2nd career touchdown. Our new score 14-0 back in Laramie. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott, all smiles for the Cowboys in this start. And how about that offense? So consistent this year. Surprisingly in the red zone, 100%. They've been perfect thus far.
Boy, and I tell you, you know, when you get down there, you want to produce points, and they've done just that. And again, 1 of 4 teams, still perfect. They just haven't got down there enough times.
After the penalty, Lilly, a full head of steam crossing the 40. Good field position for the Lobos after the 25-yard return. And don't forget about the ESPN app, a fan's best friend this fall. What a day to be on the app with all of the upsets. 3 undefeated teams go down. You can access the scores, news, and highlights all season long. Download the ESPN app and start streaming today. Well, the app's so important when the playoff rankings are finally revealed Tuesday, Halloween night. Everybody's jostling for position. We had 8 undefeated teams coming into today. Now just 5 remain. After TCU, Penn State, and USF go down, Tuioti will start this possession at quarterback. A couple of dance moves by Jay Griffin. He makes something out of nothing. He'll pick up 4.5 yards as Ortiz brought him down. But you got to have the app this time of year. All these important games taking place.
Well, I got to tell you, as quick as things happen on a Saturday afternoon, and we've worked some of those teams. TCU, we thought was really good. They had been undefeated until today. Penn State looked awfully good. They opened the game off with a kickoff return for a touchdown. I thought they were gonna roll in Columbus, but not so fast.
Ball popped out late from McQuarrie. They'll make it 3rd down. Andrew Wingert with the stop and nearly forced a turnover. Last 2 Lobos possessions have ended in interceptions.
Well, and Roy, here's the bugaboo of Rick McQuarrie. He lays it on the ground. Well, and the ground can't cause a fumble, so that's not a fumble. But I asked him before the game, I said, hey, did Coach have you walking around to class this week with the ball tucked under your arm? He said, yeah, I'm getting that. I got that taken care of. He had a big fumble last week in the loss to Colorado State.
Lobos need 2. McQuarrie again will try the right side. Needed to cross midfield, and he'll just make the yards that he needed to get. Oh, he's a big player, McQuarrie. 5'11", 221. A big personality as well, but he's got to hold on to the football.
Yeah, you have to. And, you know, he's an experienced guy, too. He's a senior, and he looks the part where he could play at the next level. And I think he's got the right body type. You mentioned it, 220 pounds, 5'11". And, you know, it's interesting. He can also throw a halfback pass, so don't keep that out of the equation tonight.
Owens will flank the quarterback. Tuioti, play action. And a far side toss sails out of bounds. Make it 2nd down and 10. Q Drennan, the intended target. Hall in coverage. Tyler Hall, number 9 in brown and gold, injured last week. Very explosive kick returner, is healthy for this game tonight.
And Roy, I think you got to credit the defensive game plan right now. Scotty Hazelton really drawing up a good game plan for the Pokes. Tavaka Tuioti does not look settled in the pocket. Even though he's a redshirt freshman, they have harassed him, they've pressured him, and they've really forced him to throw before he wanted to.
Quick strike here. Ball pops out. They'll rule that an incomplete pass. Now Winger picked it up. Hart Johnson should have made the grab, Tom.
Well, I think Winger's he's going to run into the touchdown. I don't blame him for running in the end zone. I thought he caught it and he fumbled it. I thought the ball came out. I thought that's a catch, that's a fumble, and then that's a scoop and score in my book. Anytime I'm watching football, last time I checked, when you make a catch, you make a football move, the ball comes out. You're saying he didn't hold it? Priester didn't jar the rock out?
As he made the turn, Hart Johnson, it looked like the ball was bobbling around a little bit. No replay review on 3rd and 10. That pass was nearly picked off. Gafford should have brought it in. He's been banged up tonight with a knee injury, but back on the field. And a dangerous toss by Tuioti nearly resulted in the 3rd pick of the night for this Wyoming defense.
Again, a lot happening. The defensive pressure on Tuioti, forces him into an errant throw, and Gafford almost comes down with him. Boy, I tell you, if you could go back in time.
Bojorquez will send it end over end into the end zone. Cowboys will take over once again from their own 20 with a 14-point lead here in Laramie.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Dove Men Plus Care. Care makes a man stronger. And Dr. Scholl's massaging gel insoles.
Back in Laramie on homecoming 2017. 2 New Mexico turnovers, 2 Wyoming touchdowns with Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott. It's great to have you with us as always. Bob Davie searching for answers. His team needs to come up with a defensive stop. And a slow start for Josh Allen once again. Tom just 5 of 14 through the air. Does have 54 yards on the 1 rushing touchdown.
Well, and a couple drops. And he's had a couple tough throws over the top as well. I think he could be a little more accurate, but he's also had the 2 drops.
Woods will power his way across the 20. Well, it's been an interesting back and forth as we read articles here in the state of Wyoming this week, the local beat writers, comparing some of the knowledge that's being dropped there versus what we hear behind the scenes from NFL scouts regarding Josh Allen. And I think the consensus is he's still going to be a first-round pick despite the very average numbers this year. But, you know, even that potentially could change between now and the end of the season. And by change, I mean he could go up or down, depending on what happens with his production and also decision-making. This time wants it all, looking for Price. Kind of gave up on the play late. Man-to-man coverage with Jalen Burrell.
Well, and Roy, you bring up a good point. They'll look at the film. All the scouts will look at the same film that we're watching tonight. And, you know, a throw like that up the sideline to James Price. Well, James Price doesn't have blazing speed, but you know what? When you got a guy who runs a 4.2 outside, and looking at the draft prospects coming out this year, 3 quarterbacks along with Derwin James and Saquon Barkley. I like all 3 quarterbacks. I like Josh Rosen. He took a beating today up at Washington.
Spin move by Allen on 3rd down, running out of real estate. Keeps the play alive somehow. Needs a couple of blockers. Picks one up and is upended crossing the 20. Gurgle finally credited with a stop after a gain of 8. Well, what a wild sequence that was. Josh Allen's been running for his life most of this year.
And you know what? On the scoreboard, on my scoreboard, you know what it says about Josh Allen? It says, dude competes. Because right here, he's trying to find something, Roy. And you know what? He almost runs out of bounds, comes back around. He almost makes this play single-handedly. Unbelievable.
The punt was muffed. Lobos already with 2 turnovers, make it number 3. Another costly mistake for New Mexico on the road. Braden Smith came out of there with it.
Yep, Braden Smith out of Lakewood, Colorado, Lakewood High, and he just makes a great play on the loose ball, recovering it for the Pokes.
And a rare mistake by Chris Davis. Not able to track that punt the way that he needed to.
And Roy, it looked like Chris Davis might have gotten bumped before he tried to field the ball. I couldn't tell, but there was a lot of traffic around him. Well, that's a big opportunity now for Wyoming after a spectacular scramble from Josh Allen just a moment ago.
High formation on 1st down. And Allen barking out signals. We'll watch his head coach call a timeout. Now the 3rd time tonight the Pokes have started a possession inside the New Mexico 30. One more time, we'll take another look at that punt. May have been bumped. I think it was his own teammate that got him.
Yeah. See, there you have it. I thought someone had bumped him, and Blair Manley, backup corner, sure enough, bumped into Davis, and that just sets off your timing ever so slightly. But when you're trying to catch a ball falling out of the sky from 50 yards away, it makes it awfully tough.
Now, such an important game tonight. Colorado State has already lost earlier today against Air Force. And CSU will battle New Mexico, or rather battle Wyoming next week here in Laramie. So the Rams now with a loss in conference. Wyoming with one loss in conference. But a win tonight will help put the Pokes potentially back in control of their own destiny. First down toss. Caught near the 2. Did he get a foot in bounds? They'll say he did. Now the tight end, Tyree Mayfield, will pick up 14. That was a bang-bang play at the 2.
Well, there's another player other than Josh Allen making a play right there, and the Wyoming defense. Josh Allen right there hums a fastball, and Tyree Mayfield, you said it, Roy. I mean, he just stabs the ball and gets 1 foot in, and it is a bang-bang play, but it is a completion, 1 foot down. The booth may review this one.
So they'll see if he had full control. It's got to be indisputable video evidence, of course. You all know that by now. Mark Marston is our replay official tonight.
Boy, that ball popped out of Josh Allen's hands, didn't it?
And that's what you like if you're a scout or GM at the next level watching him tonight. And for most of his junior season here, it just always hasn't been pretty.
I love the last few plays of Josh Allen. The scramble, well, even though he didn't get the first down, are you kidding me? The guy, that is competing. And I love where Josh Allen's eyes are right there. Our cameras picked up the vision right there. His eyes always down the field looking to make plays, and Mayfield kind of skates off. Well, he's lucky he didn't roll into the barrier there.
There appears to be some turf between his big toe and the sideline. I don't know that there's enough there to overturn that call, and he did have firm possession. One more look.
Yeah, I thought he caught it. I mean,
that's a catch where I'm from.
Yeah.
And the ruling on the field so important. If that was deemed to be not a catch, I don't know there would be enough there to overturn it to suggest that it was, but it was ruled as a catch. And on these kinds of plays, it can take a little bit of time.
Well, the Mountain West Conference will get a good look at it. They can have a super slow look at it as well, and they have some different angles than what we provide the viewers at home. On the Jumbotron here at Wyoming, it's clear that Mayfield's foot is in bounds. So if I could go off the Jumbotron for a moment, and Roy, I think we are batting 100%.
Haven't missed one this year.
Haven't missed one. I'm saying it's a catch.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands as called. First down, Wyoming.
Not enough evidence to overturn anything in that sequence. Approaching the halfway point of our second quarter, and the Cowboys looking to go up 3 scores. Josh Allen now with completions to 5 different targets tonight.
Yep, and that was a heck of a throw and a heck of a catch. And, you know, just a moment ago, he was 5 of 14. You know, now he's 6 of 16. He's just kind of, he's clunking along.
It's been his season.
No, he's clunking along, and he throws up some pedestrian numbers. But, however, he makes some plays that are just off the charts good.
Offset eye power formation. The jet sweep to Fort. 3 touches this season. 3 touchdowns for big number 81. And where has this guy been?
Well, he is a nice incremental part to this offense. And Brent Vegan, the offensive coordinator, just really drawn up inventive ways to get 81 the ball, and I love it. Little short motion, a quick handoff. Everyone's eyes are on Josh Allen, and Austin Fort comes around, takes it, handoff, and goes over for the score.
Check the penalty on the point after try. And it should be offsides against the Lobos. Jalen Burrell crossing the line early.
Offside, number 13, defense lined up in the neutral zone. That penalty is declined. Try is good.
So Austin Fort, now a junior, he's missed half of this season with a PCL tear. Has 3 touchdowns in his last 2 ball games, Tom.
Well, it's remarkable. 3 touches, 3 scores. Again, the Wyoming offense being innovative inside the 5-yard line, and credit that drive to Josh Allen. He took control that time for the Pokes.
Well, a wild Saturday here in the Wild West of Wyoming. 21-0 our score. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott. 3 undefeated teams have already gone down today. And for Craig Bohl, trying to search out and find his first win over the Lobos, as well on his way to doing that so far. 3 Lobos turnovers, 3 touchdowns cashed in by the Pokes. From the 5, crossing the 20. Short return. New Mexico will take over 1st and 10. Well, Allstate is proud to be a part of the team that comes together to do good by contributing to participating universities' general scholarship funds. What will happen for each field goal and extra point kick? To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds.
Well, we were talking a moment ago just at the break, and you know, has Wyoming's offense got untracked yet? Have they found their identity? And the answer is unequivocally no, they haven't. More on them in a moment.
Tuioti, Lobos quarterback, wants to go deep. Pass was tipped, it looked like, at the line and incomplete. Looking for Davis near the 37. The ball may have slipped through Epps in coverage.
Well, Roy, what's scary is the amount of total yards each team has on offense. Before this drive, New Mexico, 71 yards total offense, 57 pass yards, only 14 yards rushing, and that's after a year ago they had 568 rush yards against this Wyoming defense, and Wyoming still hasn't broken 100 yards themselves on offense.
Owens, the running back, gets the inside give, spun around after a gain of 1. Now Logan Wilson and his buddies, Ravante Holt, tag teaming to make the stop.
Well, and just what New Mexico doesn't want to do, they don't want to get into the long yardage, 3rd down situations, and they're making some substitutions now, getting some other personnel on the field, but you know, throwing the ball down the field on 3rd down, really, it's really not in their DNA. It just isn't.
One of the worst teams in the country on 3rd down, 2 for 7 tonight, 25% on the year. Tuioti flings it, incomplete. Samoye, the intended target, and 3 and out forced by the Cowboys D.
Nice play. Rico Gafford that time at corner, really doing a nice play on the ball. Really read the play, pattern read. They were just running a stop route right at the sticks, and Tuioti, the ball comes out. You know what I always say, Roy, ball comes out just a hair late and incomplete. New Mexico has to punt it away again.
Busy first half for the best punter in the Mountain West Conference, Bojorquez. And a bad play by Conway. He'll be saved by the ball rolling into the end zone.
Well, that's an awfully long punt by Bojorquez, but Conway did misplay it. It came off the left footer's foot, and it was a little squirrely, and I think it caught Conway by just, he didn't know what to do with it.
Now, don't forget, Week 8, Monday Night Football on ESPN is back in a big way. It's an AFC West rivalry matchup in Arrowhead. Broncos and the first-place Chiefs. Monday Night Countdown kicks off our coverage, 6 Eastern. Game also on ESPN2 in Spanish. KC's won the last 3 against Denver.
Last three. And if you've never been to a game in Kansas City, put it on your bucket list and go.
And it's on there. I've never been. Price grabs the quick strike, and he'll cross the 35. A late flag on the field, and they're going to tack on some more yards as Allen and Price work on their chemistry.
I love the 3-step drop. Get the ball out of Josh Allen's hands quick. James Price, quick slant. That is a money maker.
I'm going to tell you, Tom Ramsey's made Josh Allen some bank this year. The highlight reel's coming up next April, and it's going to be your voice.
Foul, targeting, number 16, defense. 15 yards will be added to the end of the run. Previous play is under further review.
Jacob Gurgle, after the 3rd reception by James Price. And, of course, all targeting penalties subject to the booth review. And that looks like targeting.
Well, and they'll uphold that. And one of the clear-cut rules of targeting is hitting a defenseless player. And that would be that would be in the referee's end-of-year discussion as saying, what's a defenseless player? Well, when a guy's getting wrapped up and going to the ground and a guy gets drilled, that's hitting a defenseless player.
Leading and launching.
Yes,
with the upper body, the crown of the helmet, and of course that area was expanded last year. As you watch Price's head sling backwards in that sequence. And for Jacob Gurgle, likely to be ejected, and he will miss the rest of this football game.
And half of the next.
That's correct.
Which is...
Well, no, this is the first half, so he'll be back. He'll be back for the next game.
That is right. Yeah, as long as it is the first half, he sits out the rest of today's game.
So that really covers both parts of the rule, the forcible contact to the head or neck area, and then leading with the crown of the helmet. That's targeting 101.
Yep.
Michael Vandervelde will confirm that call, and Gurgle will head out of War Memorial Stadium here.
After further review, the ruling on the field of targeting is confirmed. Number 16 has been disqualified.
And it's been that kind of night for head coach Bob Davie and the Lobos.
Well, and Gurgle has to leave the field immediately. He jogs off, and really it puts them in a tough position here, Roy, because they lost Bijan Parker, the free safety, last week in the Colorado State game. So they're down both starting safeties. So now Jake Rothschiller, number 28, the normal Sam backer or nickel backer, he now will play one of those safety spots, and I believe his twin brother may enter the game, and he has, number 32, Kyle.
So after they tack on the penalty yardage, Cowboys with momentum. Woods is lassoed in the backfield. He'll lose a yard. Toey was able to sneak back there.
So Kyle Rothschiller, there's Jake, and his twin brother, older brother Kyle. Kyle's older by 45 minutes.
And it counts,
32,
right?
It does count.
It counts with those twins.
And Jake, number 28, is having a phenomenal season, and Kyle hasn't played as much, but Kyle's getting his opportunity right now.
And Jake, the coach on the field for the Lobos defense. Show a 4-man front, then back off in zone coverage. Price is wide open. And James Price tripped up around the 20. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Cowboys. Tom, that's a gain of 32 yards and some chemistry now developing between 17 and number 80 for the brown and gold.
Well, when we had Wyoming against Hawaii a couple weeks ago, Josh Allen said something to me before the game. He said, hey, James Price is going to make a difference. And sure enough, he caught the game winner that night, but he is a really good route runner, as evidenced right there. They got a little hokey dokey. He kind of faked the out, came back, and Josh Allen just picking him apart right now. I love how he's throwing the ball.
I love the hokey dokey reference. I have no idea what it means, but it sounded fantastic. Spin move by Woods after a 1-yard gain.
Well, Price gave him a little out fake, so he gave him a little hokey on the outside, and then he went okie dokie and went right to the middle of the field. And Josh Allen, that is called the hokey dokie. You can throw that one on Thanksgiving Day too, Roy.
I hear you.
It's the old out and up. It's an out and up. I just like to put a little spice on it.
I understand out and up. Maybe a double move. But now called the hokey dokey. Somewhere Bud Foster smiles. Well, after a gain of 1, 2nd down and 9 for the Pokes. Under 5 to play in the first half. 5-man pressure by New Mexico. Allen rolling. And wisely throws that one away.
Yeah, if any old teammates are listening, they're like, what is Ramsey talking about? For God's sake, we never ran that. Never had a route called that.
Old teammates or current broadcasters. Either one. 3rd down and 9. What's been an impressive start for Wyoming on homecoming. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott.
Well, and this is where Josh Allen has to be good. He's been pretty good on 3rd down tonight. They've been 2 of 6, but right now he can redeem himself with 1 in the red zone.
Milo Hall checks in. Number 3 in Brown. They'll set up the screen for him. Beautiful toss by Allen. And Hall needed 9. He'll get very close to the yardage into the chains. It'll depend on the spot. Rothschiller brought him down, and he's going to be marked just short. You're going to go for this one here, maybe try to step on the throat.
Well, you have to go for it. And when Allen threw the ball and Hall caught it, didn't you think he was going to be able to run to the end zone with it?
Wyoming 7 of 8 on 4th down this season. And now they're going to rule it as a 1st down.
Well, that's a generous spot, partner.
I thought it was as well. No, you're right. Hall had a path to the end zone. Play action, end zone, and who else? Why not? 4 touchdowns for Fort on 4 touches in his Cowboys career. And that's what I would call the okey doke. 81 getting the job done.
Well, the 2nd touchdown reception for Fort tonight on play action. Josh Allen does a great job hiding the ball. Fort does a great job coming inside and releasing. And man, that's a good throw and catch. Good job by Allen. The point up is good. And Wyoming now taking a commanding 28-point lead. And Josh Allen out fire.
Now the story tonight has been number 81 for the Cowboys, Austin Fort. He's touched the football 3 times, and he scored on all 3 occasions. 4 touches this year, 4 touchdowns for the former quarterback turned tight end here in Laramie. And Tom, it was interesting, you know, Craig Bowl told us yesterday this guy was a 4.55 kind of player before he tore his PCL, missed the first half of the season. But at his size, 6'4", 244, returned back to the 30. He's got some pretty good speed even after the injury. And you know what? He's crafty. He's kind of worked his way into the heart of that New Mexico secondary a couple of times tonight. And it's obviously paid off.
Well, think about it. When he first showed up on campus, you know, he looks in the quarterback room, and guess who? Josh Allen. He's like, yeah, I probably won't beat him out. And, you know, he really wanted to play quarterback, went to a JC, played a little quarterback, and then decided, you know what, maybe I'm not a quarterback after all. Josh Allen on the last drive, 3 of 4, 44 yards. Impressive, and the TD throw to Fort.
Griffin in motion, play action, Tuioti, pass is picked off. Wingard's got it. Off the carom, tackled at the 30. Another turnover for the Lobos. And for Andrew Wingard, his 3rd pick of the season.
Boy, this Wyoming defense playing opportunistic football right now, and the ball gets tipped up. Tavaka, Tuioti thrown. Actually, just went off the hands of the receiver. Winger right there to capture the ball. And then who drills him? Tuioti, the quarterback. How about that? And Tuioti, in high school, he was a defensive back, linebacker, wide receiver, and quarterback. You just saw his tackling skills shining through.
Marcus Williams dropped the pass. Andrew Wingard cashed it in for the turnover. 4th of the night. And the quick toss will yield another first down for the Cowboys. As the far side grab by Akwali will move the chains.
Well, I don't know if Williams so much dropped it, but it was the ball I thought was behind him, and it just was tough. Anytime a tip ball goes up in the air, you're in minus territory. Not good news.
Now New Mexico, rock solid a year ago in the turnover department. Not as much this season. Towards the end zone, and did he get there? Touchdown! John Akwali, his first touchdown grab of the season. From 19 yards out, it is all Wyoming on homecoming.
John Akwali running a corner route, and again, Josh Allen with a timely and precise throw, Roy. And Akwali did a great job getting in the end zone.
And you can sense the release of frustration by this Wyoming offense after they have struggled the majority the first half of this season. And fueled by the 4 turnovers by the Lobos, they are cashing in a big way.
I'm feeling the release of frustration by Josh Allen because they still can't run the ball. They only have 26 total rush yards, but Josh Allen right now putting on a clinic, throwing the ball, and Akwali doing a great job reaching over that time. But, boy, that's standing tall in a pocket. That's delivering a ball on time. And what we say as quarterbacks, getting the ball out. He got the ball out.
Sophomore out of Phoenix, Arizona, John Akwali celebrating. And Josh Allen has completed 7 of his last 8 passes. And for the first time in quite some time, the Cowboys offense springing to life. Little Austin Fort. Some more Josh Allen. Run game still absent. But so far tonight it's working.
Well, and I asked Brent Vegan before the game, I said, hey, is it possible for Josh Allen, if he gets going, to throw it 40-plus times? And he kind of cringed when I asked him it, Roy. It was kind of interesting because he's like, well, you didn't ask me that yesterday. Why are you asking me tonight? And I'm thinking, if Josh Allen gets heated up, like, why wouldn't you ride him? And he said, yeah, I guess we could. It's working.
Brent Vegan, the offensive play caller for the Pokes, has done a lot of cringing this year, just trying to find something that works. And having lost all those weapons from last year, including Brian Hill, the school's all-time leading rusher. We documented earlier Tanner Gentry, the tight end, offensive lineman as well. It's been a work in progress, shall we say.
Yeah, and there's been a lot written up in the press up here. It's just the offense not finding the identity. Well, I think they might have found it, and it's number 17.
35-0. Jordan will swing out of the backfield. Tuioti straight ahead. And after giving up 56 points a year ago and 690 yards of total offense, Cowboys defense has been ultra stiff tonight.
Yeah, I think they've had a really good game plan, and again, forcing New Mexico to throw the ball is exactly what you want them to do.
Patrick Reed will be spotted a yard short of the first down. 3rd and 1. There's Scotty Hazelton, defensive play caller. He was nervous this week, trying to figure out a way to slow down this option attack in New Mexico. Tom, you hit the nail on the head in our meetings with the coaches. It's triple option football in terms of presentation. It's inside zone in terms of execution. And just for kicks, they're mixing in some midline option this year. I mean, the Naval Academy has traveled to Albuquerque to see how Bob Davie and company are doing it. And so far, he's been the Lobos' kryptonite.
Yeah, when Navy wants to come visit you, and we really got a kick out of it too, when Bob Davie said, well, yeah, Roy, Tom, Navy came and visited us, not once, but twice. And he said, Army wanted to do it. They wanted to come visit us too, but I just didn't feel right, allowing Army and Navy coming.
Backside pressure, quick toss. No gain on the play. Logan Wilson wreaking havoc once again.
And we did get a chuckle out of it. But you know, think about it. Navy and Army do such a great job running the triple option. And Bob DeBest, the offensive coordinator for New Mexico, you know, dials up some great plays. And tonight, Scotty Hazelton, really, with the game plan that he has shown so far, the Pokes have been tremendous.
On 3rd and 6, Tuioti escapes, flings it down the field. Dangerous pass, and it's picked off again by Wingert. Second interception of the night. Carl Granderson applying pressure. Garrett Krall joining him. And a late flag on the field. In Cowboys territory at the 47, will check the penalty. But when it rains, it pours for the Lobos offense.
Well, a lot happened there. A lot going on. Wingard. Boy, he's everywhere, isn't he? And Tavaka Tuioti. Calling a face mask on New Mexico, bringing Wingard down. But, Roy, I'm telling you what. Tavaka Tuioti, he gets clocked into next year on this one. Carl Granderson, 91. As soon as he throws it, Granderson lays the lumber on him. And again, credit the pressure. Garrett Krall coming off the edge, and then you just have an NFL prospect player in Granderson. I mean, he's the full package there.
What a first half for the Cowboys defense. Forcing the turnovers, cashing in on offense. Allen with time, surveys, flings it wide open for the touchdown. C.J. Johnson in the mix. 5th touchdown of the season. And the Cowboys are rolling. And Tom, this is the Josh Allen we thought we would see a ton of this year. Taking advantage of busted coverage. And some nice play calling by Brent Vegan as well.
And Roy, as the temperature drops in the great state of Wyoming, in Laramie, you know what that throw's called? That's called a frozen rope. That's what that's called. That is a frozen rope. That is as good a throw as you'll see from a college quarterback. He hangs in the pocket. He doesn't even allow the pressure to bother him, and then he just fires it downfield. Watch this. He's unaware of the pressure. Yeah, they're rushing 3 guys. He knows it. And then in the frozen rope into C.J. Johnson. Great movement that time by Josh Allen with his feet, slides left. Man, that's impressive.
This game was 7-0 starting the second quarter. The Pokes have piled on 35 points, their most since 1988 in a quarter. And the wheels have come off New Mexico.
Well, as quick as you can fall off the pedestal, you can climb back on it. And I'll say this. I thought Josh Allen played great last week against Boise State. We worked that game. He got battered and bruised. Boise State had some answers for them on defense. Andy Avalos, Brian Harsin, they threw a lot at Wyoming last week. They didn't have the answers, but tonight, Josh Allen has the answers.
And the return brought out crossing the 30, tripped up there. Lobos will take over. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, what an afternoon and evening it has been in college football. Buckeyes, a tremendous comeback at home. Iowa State and the Fighting Matt Campbell's getting the job done, taking down undefeated TCU. And Gene Wojciechowski will have more with Josh Allen, who I believe can toss it about 77 yards. Take a look at our updated PlayStation rankings, our top 10 in the AP. Clemson right now leading Georgia Tech at home, coming out of the open date. And Penn State coughing up a 2-score second-half lead in the Horseshoe. A lot of interesting outcomes so far today.
Yeah, J.T. Barrett played really good down the stretch, and I thought it was almost a miraculous comeback, because at one time Penn State looked to have all the momentum.
Lamar Jordan, the Lobos quarterback, Hand it off inside. Andrew Wingert will bring down the ball carrier. That's McQuarrie on a fast and furious second quarter. What could be the final play of the second quarter. Now timeout will be called. Now Tuioti got the start. It has not worked out the way that Bob DeBest, the offensive play caller, and Bob Davie, the head coach, envisioned. The interceptions have come in droves, and Wyoming has just been rock solid again in the secondary.
And I thought they would come in with a little more momentum, Roy, just based on their victory over the Cowboys from last year.
Now the numbers would certainly point you in that direction as Bob DeBest looks on. Nearly 700 yards of total offense, 568 on the ground. How many times have we repeated those numbers already tonight? It just hasn't been there a year later.
Well, you got to credit where credit is due. As you look at the numbers, Tuioti and Jordan for the Lobos. Yeah, not real good. Not 59 yards on 26 snaps and 3 interceptions, very costly. Andrew Wingert with 2 of those interceptions and Carl Granderson with the other.
Well, no player in the Mountain West in the defensive backfield has more tackles than Andrew Wingert. And a microcosm of the first half as Carl Granderson gets the stop. And that'll do it. The first 2 quarters in Laramie. Fueled by 4 New Mexico turnovers. Carl Granderson getting the job done up front. 42-0 our halftime score. Stick around. Halftime report coming up after the break.
Is brought to you by Kraft Macaroni and Cheese, the part of parenting that's impossible to mess up. This halftime report is brought to you by Aleve PM. Aleve PM for a better AM.
Start of our second half back in Laramie, Wyoming, homecoming. And the Pokes faithful very pleased with what they saw in the first 2 quarters. So take a look at tonight's Taco Bell game track. 5 turnovers for the Lobos, including 4 interceptions, their most thrown since 2001. And Austin Fort, number 81 in brown and gold, Tom, has been, well, a tremendous story these last 2 weeks.
Well, Austin Fort is really doing his part, and Josh Allen really is becoming, we already knew he was the face of Wyoming football, but he's making his mark tonight. They still can't rush the ball, Roy. Neither team has rushed the ball well. Only 26 yards apiece for each team, but Josh Allen has been the difference, and it's surely been because the defense has been dominant at creating turnovers. Carl Granderson with a great interception.
Marcus Epps brought in the last one before Andrew Wingert brought in the final 2. There was the muff punt that you just saw. And the Wyoming defense with that sticky secondary has been all over the field against 2 New Mexico quarterbacks, and they both struggled.
Yeah, Wingert really doing a nice job from his safety spot. Just credit the defensive game plan thus far by Wyoming.
Pitch to Owens off the option. Lamar Jordan is the Lobos quarterback. That'll result in a 9-yard pickup. They'll give him 10. That'll move the chains.
Well, and they did face, as you mentioned, the freshman quarterback, Tavaka Tuioti, started the game. And what Wyoming did, they put up 8- and 9-man fronts, and they said, okay, if you're going to beat us, you're not going to beat us running the ball. 26 yards in the first half, as evidenced, and it is a remarkable defensive plan so far by Scotty Hazelton for the Pokes.
Inside give, a running lane ahead to the 35. Jalen Ortiz with a tackle as Owens picks up another 5. Lobos piled up nearly 700 yards in total offense a year ago against the Cowboys in Albuquerque. It has not been the case at all tonight. You said it a couple of times. Scotty Hazelton, the defensive play caller, dug deep in the playbook. They started working for this game back in spring practice, designating a lot of drills and practice time to defending the triple option. They did the same thing back in preseason camp. Near side option, and Jordan dives forward for a short pickup. That's what you have to do against an option attack. And we bring it up as well. Triple option presentation, inside zone execution, midline option has been added to the arsenal this year. It's not easy to defend. Hey, Cowboys have tempted New Mexico to throw it. They haven't been able to do it.
And I think the other aspect, they took one day of their spring practice and dedicated it solely to stopping the triple option. Well, when you take one whole day, I mean, it becomes familiar again when you revisit it in the fall, and that's exactly what they did. It just...
Straight ahead. Needed 4. Got 2.5. Josiah Hall playing inside tonight for the Cowboys with a hit.
Yeah, usually a defensive end. Hall got pushed down inside. They had a tough injury to one of their inside defensive tackles, Connor Kane, last week, broke his ankle, and he was playing at a high level. Hall right there doing a nice job from that interior position.
Well, a busy night for number 30 in all white, Corey Bajorquez. Top punter in the Mountain West Conference. Austin Conway back deep to receive. And has a long of 75 yards. He has 4 different games this year with punts over 70 yards. And he could be looking at a future at the next level. He'll pin the Cowboys back at their own 6 after a 56-yard punt. Now the big story as well, Josh Allen could be a top 5 draft pick next April. Rush for a touchdown, through for a couple of more.
Well, there's a lot of scouts we bump into both on the field and pregame and up in the press box. Watching this young man here, number 17, Josh Allen, who's really, I think, took a step ahead tonight in his progress as a quarterback. He's moved in the pocket. He's shown toughness. He's shown escapability. And Roy, what was that last ball that he threw down the field to C.J. Johnson? I said that was a frozen rope. I mean, he can put some heat on the ball. And, you know, again, numbers aren't great. 13 of 24, 201 to 4 TDs is great. He kept one play alive just with his legs, and that's the aspect that he brings too. He can extend plays.
Kellen Overstreet checks in at running back for the first time tonight. This has been Josh Allen's most productive game, I would guess, through the first 2 quarters this year, based off the sheer metrics. They had exchanged the football. They had the wrong football on the field for the Cowboys, hence the delay. And here's Overstreet, his first carry. Plows ahead to the 10.
And Roy, we talked about up at the top of the broadcast how important this game was, and you know where it hinged in how you move ahead. Of course, both teams went to bowls last year. I think this game becomes pivotal to who can move ahead now.
Not to mention the loss by CSU earlier today. Rams now have a loss. They'll visit Laramie next weekend. Boise State still sitting there undefeated within the division, so that's something to consider in the title race for head coach Craig Bohl.
And think about Wyoming's game last year against New Mexico. It was on November 26th, and New Mexico came in and walloped. Actually, they played them down in Albuquerque. They walloped Wyoming 56-35, and then it was really a 3-game skid that Wyoming got stuck into.
Spin by Allen on 3rd down, and he'll lose a couple of yards. Cowboys will go 3 and out. So again, running the football has been the bugaboo this year for the Pokes, and despite the huge offensive numbers tonight, a lot of that due to the turnovers forced by the Cowboys defense.
And they will kick themselves, because going 3 and out in the first drive of the second half, that's when you want to run the clock a little bit, get some first downs rushing the football.
Ramel Jordan will move into plus territory. And the Lobos will take over after the 36-yard punt with their best field position of the evening as we step aside. This presentation of ESPN College Football Primetime is brought to you by Dr. Pepper. What's turned out to be a gorgeous evening here in Laramie, homecoming for Wyoming. Score tells the story. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott. Total yards really don't paint the picture quite like the score does. The 5 turnovers by New Mexico, including 4 interceptions thrown. And for Scotty Hazelton, the defensive play caller for the Pokes, it's been quite a performance, forcing those miscues. Back to live action. Pass flung down the field, and it'll sail out of bounds. Ravante Holt got to the quarterback, Lamar Jordan, in a hurry. Chestnut the intended target.
Well, and Scotty Hazelton knew this, Roy, coming in. He wasn't going to let New Mexico and their run offense beat them tonight. So he's loaded the box, 8 and 9 man fronts. And the defensive ends have really been the pivot point for Wyoming. Carl Granderson has played great. Kevin Prosser on the other side has played great. And that is a look at Scotty Hazelton. And boy, when you draw it up right and you execute it, you know, good things can happen.
On the good old-fashioned option, and Jordan's lasso, the shoestring stop. Marcus Epps got there in a hurry. And a big loss of yards back inside New Mexico territory. They'll subtract 7 from the last line of scrimmage.
Yeah, nice play by Epps. The defense, again, they do a great job holding the edge at the end. And, boy, nice fill that time by Jalen Ortiz from his outside linebacker spot. He made Jordan go the other way, and then flying in comes Marcus Epps.
I'll give you the quote one more time from number 6 in brown and gold. We want to prove this is a team that we can stop after what happened last year, and I'd say they've done that and then some tonight. And a timeout for the Lobos.
Well, and Wyoming may have showed their hands there. They were going 0 coverage without a free safety in the back end, and Bob DeBest might have changed his mind. He might want to call a pass play.
Don't forget, coming up Tuesday night, Halloween arrives, and we've got nothing but treats for you on ESPN. The exclusive reveal, the college football playoff top 25 rankings. All goes down at 7 Eastern. Reese and the guys will break them down from top to bottom. We also have an interview with committee chairman Kirby Hocutt, streaming live on the ESPN app as well. So who you got right now if the playoff poll came out tonight? Tom's picks, my picks as well. Now this is forecasting what I believe the first poll is going to look like. Your thoughts on what we're looking at?
You were looking over my shoulder at the first 3. I mean, you know, but I listen, Alabama, is there any argument? Not really. Not for the Crimson Tide, but for Wisconsin. Who have they beaten this year?
It's a powder puff cupcake schedule for the Badgers on 3rd and long, triple coverage, and wouldn't you know it, another interception. Tyler Hall, now healthy, was banged up last week, and he picks off New Mexico. First interception of the season for the sophomore from California, and the offensive woes continue for the team in all white.
Well, I'll go back 15 seconds. You know I don't like to go back in time, but Wisconsin has played people, Roy, and they beat Northwestern. Take a look at Tyler Hall going up, high pointing the ball. Chalk it up. One more interception for Wyoming, 42-0.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Axe. Find your magic. And Allstate, official protector of college football fans.
Third quarter continues. Under 10 to play. All Cowboys. This critical Mountain West Conference showdown. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott, great to have you with us tonight. It's turned out to be a beautiful evening. Old Man Winter was thought to be rearing his ugly head this evening. That has not happened. Temperatures have leveled off in the 40s. And a slow start for the Pokes here to begin our second half, with the exception of another turnover force. And the latest one from cornerback Tyler Hall.
False start. Number 81, offense, 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
So the 6 turnovers tie a school record. It was last achieved back in September 2011 against Bowling Green.
Well, and I think more importantly, out of those 6 turnovers, 5 being interceptions, Wyoming has converted those into 35 points. 35 points off turnovers. That's big, and 42 on the night. And Josh Allen has really settled in throwing the ball.
Deep handoff, a stretch play to Overstreet. And on 1st and 15, they'll get 3 of those penalty yards right back.
And Coach Craig Bohl and offensive coordinator Brent Vigen, just they haven't been pleased with the 3 yards a carry. And yes, they had Brian Hill last year, the career leading rusher for Wyoming. But once in a while, Roy, Brian Hill would snap off a 60-yard run. And they just haven't had that in their offense this year. They don't have a threat to take it 60 yards.
Hasn't been there. They'll swing it out. And crossing the 20 ahead to the 23 for a short gain. They'll bring up 3rd down after a gain of 5. Rothschiller with the stop, and it's been a wacky Saturday afternoon here closing out the month of October. And more games to come.
Dante Crow getting in the action as well tonight, number 12.
That's his first career reception. Cowboys need 7 to keep the drive alive. Looking for Price. He'll reverse pivot, and Conway has it on another rope delivered by Josh Allen. That's a gain of 18. The drive continues.
I like the play call. There's a little wrinkle where they just do a real slight play action into the line to freeze the linebackers, and then Josh Allen's able to kind of just pump fakes left, in fact, and then sprints out to the right, and Conway getting into the action. But again, it's the eyes where the defense follows Josh Allen's eyes, and then that's just a mark on the sideline.
Approaching 7.5 to play. Overstreet upended, short of the 40. He'll lose 2. Aaron Blackwell with the hit. So the one area you go back to the drawing board and you try to figure out how to get that ground game going. In the meantime, you get some much needed playing time for some reserves. We've seen Jared Scott and Dante Crow on the field on this possession. 2 receivers that haven't gotten a lot of PT this year. And for Craig Bohl, certainly an important component, the back end of the schedule, to help build depth. Halfway through the 3rd. And the pass floated incomplete, looking for Harshman. Now make sure you kick off your Week 8 NFL Sunday with a countdown crew, 10 a.m. Eastern over on ESPN. All the early breaking stories, injury updates, previews right up to kickoff. Streaming live on the app as well. Sunday NFL Countdown with Sam Ponder and company. 3rd down and long coming up for the Cowboys.
Well, a lot going on Sunday mornings for sure, but on that last play when Josh Allen missed Harshman, the tight end, it's kind of like he just kind of threw his arms up in the air, looked at the sideline. He just has to make up for it here.
And he'll fling it far side. Pass is caught in plus territory. And that's going to be awfully close for Harshman, who was brought down by Sewell. And they'll be a yard short.
Well, he went back to Harshman there, the tight end, and Harshman almost had enough. He doesn't get a lot of separation from the defender. He makes a nice catch, but just comes up short of the sticks.
And the greedy Wyoming fan base wanting the Pokes to go for it. Zaleski back on the field. Fair catch called for and made. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Lobos after the 35-yard punt. And we return. We check what's happening at War Memorial Stadium with the AT&T Field Pass. And tonight, the Cowboys honoring their late head coach, Joe Tiller. You see the JT on the back of the Wyoming helmet. And college football fans across the country found out about a month ago the passing of the legendary head coach, both here for the Pokes and also at Purdue. And a nice way to honor one of the legends in this part of the country. Tiller had an incredible run. Boilermakers resurrecting program there, and also here in Laramie. The Cowboys head coach, 90 to 96. In fact, when Craig Bohl was hired, here to lead Wyoming. Made the quick trip up to Buffalo, Wyoming, spent some time with Joe. Wanted his advice on what he was able to do to resurrect this program. And he said, you know what, Craig, you need to get guys that want to be here. So we spent about a day with him, and certainly a great way to figure out what it's going to take to get this program back to where it was under his leadership. And, you know, Tom, they won the division last year, won 8 football games. And for Craig Bohl, he was very pleased with all that he learned from the late Joe Tiller.
Well, and that was a nice story, really a nice story that Craig Bohl told us. And, you know, Joe Tiller, 6 years as a head coach, and he also was the offensive line coach here when they were winning back-to-back titles in the Western Athletic Conference, and he was working for Paul Roach then. And then, of course, Joe Tiller went on to Purdue and spent 12 years there. And really the coaching tree of Joe Tiller is just remarkable to me. Bob DeBest, the offensive coordinator, was an assistant. And then you also had Kevin Sumlin, the head coach at A&M, and many others. But just a great coach. And, of course, he coached Drew Brees while he was a quarterback at Purdue.
Injured player on the field for the Lobos is Chris Estrella, starting right tackle. Drew Brees said about the passing of Joe Tiller, he did so much more than teach us how to win. Taught us the life lessons, how to be great leaders and men. And I would say that Drew Brees in his Hall of Fame career speaks volumes about what Joe Tiller meant for him, for Purdue, and also for this Wyoming program. You get the sense as well in talking with Craig Bohl, he wants to be here. He's not using this as a launching pad to go somewhere else, as Estrella has helped off. Much in the same way that Joe Tiller went about his business, embracing the culture, the community, and the state. And of course, Craig Bohl won 3 national championships with North Dakota State. The Bison started at Wyoming with a 6-18 record. 8-6 last year, the Mountain West Conference Coach of the Year. And he is well on his way. You know, he's talked to us this year. What's the highest compliment you could pay his program? And he said that it's an actual program, that we're not just a flash in the pan, one year win a title, the next year not be very good. And I think he's well on his way to doing that here in Laramie.
Well, I think he's put the print of what the program is, what it should look like, and what he wants it to become. And I made the comment, I said, well, I think you're already ahead of schedule. I think you do have a program. They have a beautiful new building, football-only building at the north end of their stadium. They've done quite a bit. Tom Berman, the athletic director, was smart, and he signed Craig Bohl to a 7-year extension at the end of last year. So he's here for a while. And, you know, there's a nice look at the building that they're just putting the finishing touches on at the north end zone. And, you know, I like both Bob Davie and Craig Bohl. They're very comfortable in their skin. They've had success all over the country. And they're 2 really good football coaches.
Owens on 3rd down will move the chains into Wyoming territory and ushered out of bounds inside the 45. New Mexico now 4 for 13 on 3rd down, and with just 126 yards of total offense. Well, I like what you said about Davie. You're not seeing it tonight necessarily. Another nice run by Owens, fresh off his first 100-yard game a week ago in the loss at CSU. But Davie has built his brand. Craig Bohl's in the process of doing exactly that. And for Bob Davie, his team has won bowl games, appeared in bowl games in back-to-back seasons for just the 2nd time in school history. McQuarrie left side ahead to the 40.
Well, and when you look at New Mexico's schedule, Roy, and this is nothing against their record coming in, 3 wins, 4 losses, but their away schedule, maybe one of the toughest in the country. At Boise State, they lost that game 28-14. At Tulsa, they won that game 16-13 on a last-second field goal. Then they went to Fresno State. And guess who the surprise of the Mountain West Conference is this year? Jeff Tedford and the Fresno State Bulldogs. They got blanked 38-0. And then having to play at Wyoming, but then they go on the road in a couple weeks to Texas A&M and San Diego State.
Power run for McQuarrie. what has turned out to be the longest drive of the evening for the Lobos. He stopped by Ortiz. His schedule not forgiving this year for a team that won a bowl game a year ago. And that one right in the middle against Fresno State really surprised a lot of folks. And you mentioned Tepper, they're undefeated in the Mountain West. And the big surprise, they only won one game last year. Yeah. And now they may be playing for the championship.
Yeah, Jeff Tedford has already led his team to the largest improvement thus far, and that was even before they play UNLV tonight.
Trenton in motion, deep give. McQuarley's got the first down on third down. And stopped by Wingert, so the drive continues for New Mexico. The Cowboys, for the present moment, still pitching the shutout.
Well, New Mexico wants to get on the board. Once they get on the board, they get a little momentum. They're starting to kind of run more freely. And Bob DeBest said, hey, if we play fast and play with suddenness, we'll do well. Well, you know what? They didn't play fast tonight. They didn't come out of the gates fast. And, again, credit Wyoming's defense. They shut them down, and particularly on the edge where that Wyoming defense has been so stout tonight.
Jordan remains the quarterback. And stacked up after the handoff. No gain on the play. Kevin Prosser with the hit.
Well, yeah, and who makes the tackle? The two edge guys, Granderson and Prosser, just come beelining in on the running back. And, I mean, that's where they've gotten the production tonight on defense. Those two guys right there heading off the field, getting their accolades. And, boy, Carl Granderson, he shown up. Wow.
Well, that's where the pressure was going to reside tonight on both defensive ends. Scotty Hazelton told us that this week. And have to make sure that they try to force New Mexico inside instead of to the perimeter. And they've done that so far tonight. Jordan with a brief crease across the 30, brought down by Crawl.
Yep, nice play by Crawl, stepping in, replacing Carl Granderson there. He just follows right in 91's footsteps, making the play off the edge.
You know, you and I have seen Bryce Love this year, Texas Christian, and Kenny Trill, and what kind of he's done at quarterback, although the Horned Frogs lost earlier today against Iowa State. Saw Boise State last week, a handful of other stars on all those teams. And I would put Carl Granderson up against just about any one of those players. Bryce Love may win the Heisman Trophy, but Granderson has impacted the game in so many different ways this year. Pass is underthrown and incomplete on third down. Jalen Ortiz, a linebacker, in coverage there against Tyrone Owens.
Nice play of Ortiz running with the fast running back Owens that time.
Owens averaged 8 yards per touch last year, was one of the best in the country. And on 4th and 7, Lobos will go for it.
Yeah, you got to pull out all stops here. You want to get points on the board. You want to just get any bit of momentum you can. And Bob Davie going for it here on 4th down.
36 straight possessions on the road without a touchdown for the Lobos. Jordan directing traffic, now will run for it. He's got the first down and steps out short of the 10. I'm going to give you that stat one more time. 36th possession. This one right here, which Lobos have not scored a touchdown on the road. And this is their first trip into the red zone tonight, with Jordan securing that first down seconds ago.
Yeah, no touchdowns. No touchdowns. 3 field goals during that span, but
it's an odd stat when you think about it.
Yeah, I think Lamar Jordan, though, boy, you know, he's so quick. It's a tough guy to put contain on.
Split backs out of the pistol. McQuarley with a flag on the field. A powerful run down to the 5. Well, 78 yards on this possession, achieved on the ground.
Illegal formation. 5 players lined up in the backfield. Offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So time winding down in the third quarter. New Mexico trying to fight and scratch for some kind of offensive production. They'll back him up to the 16.
Well, that penalty kind of sets them back. Now, where I thought they would power the run game, now they're almost forced to throw. And again, you mentioned a moment ago, Roy, they've done such a good job, routing players into the inside. And Logan Wilson, the middle linebacker, just played remarkably as well.
Well, it's almost as if New Mexico
30 seconds in length
has played right into the hands of Scott Hazelton in this Wyoming defense. And there's something to be said about doing that against a team that can be as explosive as this one. And don't forget Week 8, our Monday Night Football matchup over on ESPN, a big AFC West rivalry. Kansas City and Denver. Chiefs have won the last 3. What a job Alex Smith, Andy Reid have done. The game will be played inside the friendly confines of Arrowhead Stadium. 42-0 the score, 5 seconds left in the third quarter. And McQuarrie ahead to the 12. In a game that has been dominated by the home team on homecoming. Cowboys rolling into the fourth quarter with a 42-point advantage. They'll try to seal the deal when we return. $42-0 our score. Start of the fourth quarter. No trickery tonight. Some 72 hours before Halloween. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott, Cowboys getting the job done on both sides of the football on homecoming. Lobos with possession on what will be the 12th play of this drive. Jordan remains on the field, floats it out of bounds.
Well, you want to give your receiver an opportunity to catch the ball. That time, Hart Johnson, the ball just about 10 yards over his head and floating out of bounds. So Lamar Jordan that time not even giving him a chance.
Hart Johnson, a junior from Philadelphia, a former bat boy for the Phillies. Total yards really don't tell you the story. The 6 turnovers forced by the Cowboys defense certainly does. Lobos can get a first down just inside the 2. Jordan harassed, slung down. Garrett Crawl got back there. Lolahea will be credited with the sack. And will lose 13 yards.
Yeah, Nayla Lolahea again from that defensive end position, working inside with a nice rip move that time, and that's good playing right there, coming off the edge. And again, the guys off the edge tonight have been unstoppable.
42-yard attempt off the right foot of Jason Sanders. He's had a good year for the Lobos. They'll split the uprights. So New Mexico finally on the scoreboard to begin our fourth quarter. 42-3 here in Laramie. Now back in Laramie, Cowboys all over New Mexico, 42-3. With Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott. The score tells the story. Wyoming's defense forcing 6 turnovers. 5 of those coming in the first half. And New Mexico just notching a couple of points on the scoreboard, courtesy of Jason Sanders and his 42-yard field goal. Milo Hall will drift back. Cowboys will take over from their own 25. We take a look at our championship drive update brought to you by Dr. Pepper. A wild Saturday here at the end of October. Buckeyes rally to defeat Penn State. Nittany Lions no longer undefeated. Georgia, first time we mentioned the Bulldogs tonight, they were sensational against the Gators down in Jacksonville. And I don't know if TCU was shocked in Ames. Iowa State and the Fighting Matt Campbells have been phenomenal. They forced a couple of turnovers. And now Iowa State's got a chance in the Big 12 with just one conference loss at this point. But I'll go back to that Georgia game. What a job Kirby Smart has done with his backup quarterback this year in Jake Fromm. And Jacob Eason can probably play now. Fromm's going to remain the starter. And with that defense, it's not like they got to throw it a bunch. They're just locking people down just like they did the Gators earlier.
Well, he has the right recipe. You know, you win championships with defense, right? You hear it over and over. But you have to have a good run game. And I think you have to be good on third down, Roy. You got to be really good. The teams that the remainder of teams that are undefeated now, they have that recipe, and they're all good on special teams.
Gain of 8 by Trey Woods on first down. And he'll get the handoff again to move the chains. Well, Nick Chubb, Sony Michel got the job done in the game formerly known as the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Easy for me to say. And don't forget, coming up Tuesday night on Halloween, we've got nothing but treats for you over on ESPN. The exclusive reveal, the college football playoff top 25 at 7 Eastern. Reese Davis and the guys will break them down from top to bottom. We'll have coaches' reactions as well as a live interview with committee chairman Kirby Hocutt. Also streaming live on the ESPN app. And a timeout on the field for an injured player for the Lobos as we step aside.
ESPN College Football is presented by Dr. Pepper, the one fans crave, and in part by Cabela's. Get to Cabela's for all your hunting, fishing, and camping needs. Cabela's, it's in your nature.
Back in Laramie and the homecoming crowd feeling quite nice on this chilly evening. 42-3 the score. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott moments ago. Stanley Barnwell starting free safety for the Lobos, helped off the field. This turned out to be a picture-perfect evening. Dare I suggest Chamber of Commerce here in Laramie.
Wait till tomorrow.
That's right.
when you probably your wipers don't work because they're frozen to your windshield.
It was 9 degrees up here 48 hours ago. Josh Allen remains on the field. Leading rusher for the Pokes tonight with 20 yards on the ground. Very busy evening in college football. And we'll send you back to the studio. Chris Cotter. Chris, what do you have? And how about the Bulldogs against the Aggies, getting the job done on defense? I don't know a lot of us saw that one coming.
Mississippi State's good.
Now Dan Mullen,
they're good.
It'll be interesting to see if he becomes a candidate to move on elsewhere for the job he's done in Starkville. Trey Woods for a gain of 12.
Where would he go, prognosticator Philpott?
Well, have you heard what's happening down in Gainesville? Given some recent comments by Jim McElwain. And apparently some people interested in maybe moving in a different direction with the Florida Gators. So that would be a natural landing spot considering the job he did there as an offensive play caller.
Do people realize how many problems off the field Florida has? And it's not because of the head coach. The players, I mean, I like McElwain. I think all that talk is nonsense. I really do.
The weird part about it is, let's think about his background and what he did at Alabama, then at Colorado State. He's an offensive coach, and the offense at UF has been dismal. I mean, they really won those 2 SEC East championships based off the defense as Josh Allen checks out, and the new quarterback will be Nick Smith. So an outstanding night on homecoming for the redshirt junior Josh Allen. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying it won't happen, but right now, if you read some of the reports, a lot of people not happy with what has transpired at Florida. And you mentioned, some of the players that have been suspended or dismissed. And, ultimately that does fall on the head coach's shoulders in terms of the players you recruit. But it was his comments earlier this week in which the controversy kind of ensued. Josh Allen, 16 of 28 tonight, 234 yards. And, Tom, I think the most important number, the 4 touchdowns. He looked like a first-round pick tonight. This is our third Wyoming game, and that's the first time, really, I feel great about telling you that.
Well, when I walk down the hallway in the press box to get a cup of coffee, and I'm bumping into scout after scout after scout, and they're busy then getting back to their computers and typing notes, I would say I'm going to hold true. He's still a top 3 pick.
A top 3 pick.
Top 3 pick. Listen, he'll get through this year, Roy, and you know what? They may go to a bowl game. I think that will be a big bonus for Wyoming if they play well enough to get invited to a bowl game. But then Josh Allen, it's everything that happens after the season. It's the one-on-one workouts, it's the pro day, and Josh Allen can make every throw on the field. And oh, by the way, on ESPN College Game Day a couple weeks ago, Gene Wojciechowski, I saw he challenged, well, he didn't challenge him. He said, hey, Josh Allen, how far can you throw it? And he wound up and threw it about 77 yards.
Easily.
Easily. Easily.
That's God-given talent as the punt sails out of bounds. 3 straight possessions with the Cowboys in those possessions in punts. As we step aside, it's 42-3. Cowboys on the verge of winning their 5th game of the season. And redshirt junior quarterback Josh Allen has spent the better part of the last 5 minutes giving high fives, saying job well done to his entire team. And you love that kind of leadership. And Tom, you mentioned the potential for a bowl game. One more win, they'll be bowl eligible. And obviously that's always a big deal for any team, and the group of 5 especially. It gives you those extra practices and a chance to hone your skills a little bit more.
You know, the story I loved, what Craig Bohl told us yesterday was Josh Allen was banged up after Boise State. He wasn't going to even make a Monday practice, and he came into his coach and said, Coach, I have to be at practice. I have to be there. And I think that's why, Roy, he went out and is thanking everyone, and encouraging people on the sidelines and still shaking hands. I mean, he is the face of Wyoming football. And I think he is an absolute remarkable quarterback.
Kentrell Moran with a carry. He picked up a yard. Just his 5th touch of this season. Well, I want to get deeper into that because a lot of people in recent weeks have compared Josh Allen with SC quarterback Sam Darnold, UCLA signal caller Josh Rosen. Lamar Jackson has been thought of to be a high round pick, maybe not a quarterback. We'll see as a timeout is called. But let's look at it for a second. Allen versus Darnold versus Rosen. You play quarterback in the Pac-12 with the Patriots. If you had to just break them all down, what do you like?
Well, listen, my scores, remarkably, they're all even, but for different reasons. Josh Allen and the ability to extend plays, last drive of where you want it, decision-making. Sam Darnold dropped down a little bit for me in decision-making. He's made some errant throws, and it's cost them some possessions. And then Josh Rosen, I would say his inability to extend plays is really the only knock on him. He doesn't have the mobility and the athleticism of Josh Allen. And I think at the end of the day, when you have 280 and 300-pound guys that run 4.6 and 4.7, I think you need big, athletic people that can throw the ball 75-plus yards. And, well, there's not a lot of guys like that in the country. There's one, and he's in Laramie.
Amazing to think no Division I scholarship offers out of high school. He went the junior college route, sent out his tape. Eastern Michigan came calling. He landed at Wyoming here in Laramie, and it's been quite a run as Jordan dives ahead for the first down on 2nd and 9.
Yeah, when I say he can make all the throws, Roy, I mean he can deliver the ball on the run. And I think, when you talk about extending plays, right, it's the throw versus Hawaii in overtime to James Price and just launches the ball, the game winner. And then it looks similar, but this ball was Austin Fort's first catch of the year and his first touchdown catch of the year. He has followed it up nicely tonight. But when I remember last week after that throw, I said, that is a first rounder of a throw. And it was, he's scrambling, being chased to the sideline and just making plays. And he made a couple of those plays tonight, and in particular to throw to his tight end, Tyree Mayfield, inside the +5. I thought that was just a tremendous play.
Gain of 2 on first down. So if I'm listening to you correctly, I don't think I have selective hearing, but if I'm listening correctly here, you like Allen because he can extend plays with his feet, the big physical presence, the 6'5" frame. I mean, we've heard coaches tell us this year with a stiff arm, he can keep plays alive as Moran goes straight ahead for another short gain. But the athleticism perhaps sets him apart versus Darnold, who's turned it over too many times this year, and especially against Rosen, who spins it beautifully, but is not quite as mobile.
All 3 quarterbacks are going to go in the first round. I still think all 3 are going to go in the top 5 picks of the NFL draft. I still believe that wholeheartedly because there is a premium. It is not a high commodity item that comes out of the draft every year. An NFL quarterback will be the face of the franchise, and they will lead you. The only time people remember teams, how do you get to a Super Bowl? Yeah, people say great defense, but you have to have a great quarterback leading the way.
There's not a lot of Trent Dilfers winning world championships. No offense to Trent.
No.
You got to have a guy that can get the ball down the field, produce big plays, sustain drives, etc.
Well, and that year that Baltimore won it, you can say Trent Dilfer was a game manager. I thought he drove the ball down the field and made plays on third down. And, their defense created a lot of turnovers, but nothing wrong with being a game manager either.
The Horkaz will float this one out of bounds after what's been an otherwise sensational evening for the New Mexico punter. Timeout on the field, under 7 to play in Laramie.
The College Football Playoff Top 25 Ranking Show. Tuesday at 7 on ESPN. Presented by Allstate.
Back in Laramie, 42-3 our score. The playoff rankings revealed for the first time Halloween night. Some trick-or-treating perhaps happening here inside of War Memorial Stadium for the Wyoming fans that have stayed to watch the conclusion of this one. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott. I'll give you another team I think it's been impressive today. Maybe under the radar because of the late start, but Clemson really getting the job done over on ESPN2 against Georgia Tech. And the Tigers coming off the bye week with a healthy Kelly Bryant, perhaps making a bit of a statement against the Yellow Jackets. And we'll see if the committee agrees with that assessment, because this is the last time you get a chance to make that first impression before the poll comes out Tuesday. Mike Green, the carry. Nick Smith remains on the field for the Cowboys, now in mop-up duty. Where would you put the Tigers right now in the top 6?
Well, I think, Roy, Clemson, with Kelly Bryant healthy, I think they're going to end up as one of the 4 teams in the playoff. You rest assured, they're still one of the best teams in America. I think the first ranking, I think they're number 6. That's where 5 or 6. Yeah, but Ohio State deserves to be considered. I still think Wisconsin, a head-to-head against Ohio State. You said Wisconsin hadn't played anybody. I think they have. I think it's going to be a heck of a game and a heck of a Big Ten championship, but I like Wisconsin on top of that one.
Well, the Buckeyes back in the mix after the come-from-behind win earlier today against Penn State. And J.T. Barrett has figured out this offense in the downfield passing game with first-year play caller Kevin Wilson. It's taken some time, but since the Oklahoma loss, well, he's been just about as good as anybody in the country at the quarterback spot.
Yeah, I have been a little critical of J.T. Barrett throwing the ball today. Listen, he put up good numbers against a tough defense. And perseverance. I award a lot of points when quarterbacks persevere, and it's not easy getting into a new system, having a new position coach, kind of just working things out sometimes, and he's been able to do it, and he's done a nice job for them.
Mel Jordan back deep to receive this punt. Zaleski has had a nice night. And a fair catch, not made at the 15. Cannot advance the muffed punt. And so another turnover for the Lobos, recovered in plus territory. 7 turnovers tonight for New Mexico.
Well, and that's always, when you come up on the wrong end of the turnover margin, you're just doomed. And that ball just squirts right through his hands. And Mayfield, the tight end, who's also a special teamer, there to pick up the ball, cannot advance it, but Wyoming will have the ball at the plus 12.
Well, a chance for the Cowboys maybe to tack on another score. 7 turnovers. New Mexico only turned it over 14 times last year. Basically at that number coming into tonight. And now into the 20s. And off right side. Down to the 5.
Yeah, that's a great point, Roy. Where they've been the past 2 seasons, they just really have not turned the ball over. They haven't given it away, and you can't, right? It just, yeah. But tonight, yeah, it's been a bit of a disaster for them, losing the ball.
Most in school history for the Lobos, and for Bob Davie, it's just one of those nights. Nothing went according to plan. You started the redshirt freshman at quarterback. Lobos turned it over via the air 4 times in the first 2 quarters. Mike Green, the running back. On second and short, and Green, left tackle. Other thing to consider from today's action, TCU falling in Ames. You'll wonder about the Big 12's playoff hopes at this point. No more undefeated teams remaining in that conference. A lot of people have said that about the Pac-12. Of course, if Notre Dame enters the mix, that could eliminate 2 Power 5 leagues from this year's college football playoffs. There's a lot of moving parts, but TCU's loss does not help the Big 12's cause to get a team into the playoff. And remember, too, there's a championship game in that conference this year, which could help or hurt.
Yeah, could help or hurt. It's a Big 12 team or a Pac-12 team. We haven't talked a lot about Pac-12, but they've been off the radar as well as
Trey Woods checking back in and is sent to the turf in a hurry. Evatoe got back there.
And Roy, think about this. Iowa State's quarterback, Kyle Kempt, right? Nice piece on Game Day today. The trials and tribulations of a walk-on and a transfer, and boy, he just, again, what did I say about perseverance? Pays off.
Well, 3 weeks ago, the Cyclones were losing at home to Texas with Jacob Park as the starting quarterback. All of a sudden, Kemp enters the mix, and Iowa State's been unbeatable. Winning on the road at OU and then taking care of Texas Christian earlier. Green will be sent packing back to the 14-yard line. He'll lose a couple. Aaron Blackwell with a stop. And a mere formality now as New Mexico will try to get out of Laramie as best as it can on the wrong end of a 42-3 score. Now, don't forget, tonight on SportsCenter after SC Arizona State over on ESPN, Kirk Herbstreit reveals who his top 4 should be coming up on Tuesday night. Plus, the teams with the easiest path to the playoff. And Mark Teixeira, David Ross break down Game 4 of the World Series. SportsCenter with Linda Cohn and Neil Everett, also streaming live on the ESPN app. And that last possession, the first time this year, Wyoming has been held without a score in the red zone. Colin Gerhardt checks in as the new Lobos quarterback. And a microcosm of this evening for New Mexico.
Well, and I think the defensive coordinator, Scotty Hazelton, might get a game ball tonight.
He should.
From Craig Bohl. And we did ask Hazelton, I jokingly asked, well, what quarterback would you want to see? He said, I'd like to see their third-team quarterback. with a slight grin. But Craig Bohl there, giving him a hug.
Hey, Craig told us, too, hey, there's pressure on Scotty this week. He admitted it to us. Coach Hazelton felt that pressure, and his defense has responded with flying colors.
You know, I don't know if he felt pressure, Roy, and I'll say this. When you have good players and you have a good plan and you've had a good week of practice, you feel good, right? You want to play the game. And I think the play of his defensive ends tonight, he put a lot on their plate. Kevin Prosser, Carl Granderson, those guys had big responsibilities in the game plan. And you know what? They passed with flying colors, and Granderson, they might have found their next great running back. Granderson, give him the ball once or twice.
Put him in there. Yeah, I would agree with that assessment. On third down, needed 2, and he'll pick up 4. I don't know if they felt pressure. I felt it in those meetings, and they have certainly performed at a high level. So, tip of the cap, Craig Bohl, and to Scott Hazelton for a job well done tonight on homecoming, no less. And an interesting matchup coming up next week as Colorado State comes to town. CSU off its first conference loss of the season earlier today to Air Force. And we'll see what that one means next week.
And next week we get a look at the conference leading Fresno State Bulldogs. That'll be fun.
Late game over on ESPN2. We look forward to that. 42-3, the final score. Wyoming improves to 5-3. The Lobos fall to 3-5. Up next, a chance to watch a college football showdown as Alabama A&M takes on Alabama State at Legion Field in Birmingham. Good night from Laramie.